Hello and good evening everyone. Thank you for joining me today in this session. So today in this session we are going to begin solving a new project, which is the 0x04 more functions, more nested loops. Okay, so this is a continuation or a bit advanced than the previous playlist we had on 0x02 functions, nested loops. So this is a bit advanced compared to the previous one we've seen so far. So it is the same thing we are doing, is the same functions and more nested loops. So there is no need for us to explain what a function and what a nested loop is. Also, if you don't understand what a function and nested loop is, please refer to the previous videos I made on this particular project. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and begin solving examples. So because everything we need about this, we have already explained this in the previous videos we've been talking about functions and nested loops. Okay, so before I begin solving examples, as you can see here, we are supposed to work on this directory here, repository, sorry. I'm already in that repository, and then I went ahead and created this directory here, which is this, right? And I cd into the directory. So inside the directory, let me show you, I already have my readme.md. So make sure you create your readme.md and make sure that it is not empty. I went ahead and created my header file. Let me give you a preview of the header file. So just look at it. This is my header file. I have added 3 prototypes, that is the prototypes of the first 3 tasks here, which I hope we are going to solve in this particular video. So that's why I added the prototypes here. So we are going to solve from task 0 to task 3 to task 2, sorry, in this video. Okay, so make sure you have your prototypes inside your main.h, and don't forget to guard your header file. All right, so let's begin solving examples. This says we should write a function that checks for uppercase character. Okay, so this is the prototype here, and it says that we should return 1 if C is uppercase. C here is the parameter that the function is taking, right? So the function is supposed to check for whatever C is and return 1 if C is uppercase and return 0 otherwise. Okay, so let's copy the file name first. Let's open the file, vi. All right, so we need to include our header file, right? Hash include main.h. Sorry, let me zoom in a bit. Yeah, I think it's better this way. Main.h. Then copy the prototype. All right, copy, and I'm going to paste this here. All right, so it says we should write a function that checks for uppercase character. So I need to set a condition if C is an uppercase or if C is a lowercase, right? So all I need to say is if this C here, this particular character here, the parameter, sorry, if C is greater than or equals to what? Capital letter A in this case. Since I'm considering what? Uppercase, right? And also that same C is less than or equals to capital letter Z. So with this, I'm able to target everything between capital A and capital Z, including the A and Z themselves, right? So this will target all the 26 alphabets in capital letters. That's why I'm using what? Capital A here and capital Z. Okay, so and what does the question says? It says it should return 1 if C is uppercase. So I'll just say return, and then here I will say 1. That is, if C is uppercase, it should return 1. So else, that is otherwise, right, it should return 0. So I just say return 0 here. As simple as this. So don't forget, let's document our Betty, right? So what's the function name? The function name is upper, right? So I will just say checks for uppercase character, right? And then what does the function return? It returns 1 on success, right? 1 on success, 0 on failure, right? So I can do something like this. Then what again? Okay, I need to, the parameter, the function has a parameter, so I need to tell Betty about that parameter. So it is called @C, right? So I will just say function parameter, or you can say parameter to be checked anyhow. So let's save this. Let's run Betty on the file. Betty 0. Okay, no description found for its upper. I think I've described that already. Is upper. I don't know what the okay. Yeah, this is supposed to be another asterisk. Yeah, a double asterisk. I guess that's the reason. So let's run Betty again. Yeah, so Betty is happy now. So let's create the test file and see, is it this task? Yeah, this is the task. So I'll just say vi 0 main.c, right, paste. So here I need to hash I. All right, so let's compile and see if we will get the desired output. All right, so it has been compiled. Let's run the compiled file. Yeah, so as you can see, we got 1 and 0 here. So this is just saying that when you look at this, when the function is being called, capital E was passed to the function, right? And capital K is what is an uppercase. That's why the function returns a 1, right? And here a small letter A was passed to the function. That's why 0 was passed here. Sorry, was printed it as the output. Okay, so don't forget to add, commit, and push to your GitHub repository, and then you can run your checks. So let's move on to the next task. So this task here says we should write a function that checks for a digit 0 through 9. Okay, the function should check for digit 0 through 9. So we are only checking for from 0 to 9, right? So let's open the file first, and then we'll begin to explain as we're writing the code. Sorry, so paste. So we need to include our hash include main.h, right? So the function prototype is this. Copy. All right, so we are looking forward 0 through 9, right? So the function takes in a parameter c, right? So I need to say if c. So now in this case, I'm going to use the ASCII code of 0 and also 9 to check this. Okay, I'm going to use the ASCII code. I've tried using the normal digits 0 through 9, but I found out that it's not working. I don't know why. But when I run when I solve the problem using the ASCII, I found the exact answer, and I found the exact answer, and the checker was able to check it correctly. Okay, so I guess for this question we are supposed to use the ASCII code. So let's check what's the ASCII code of 0. So this is, where is 0? Yeah, so this is 0 here. So the ASCII code for 0 is 48, right? So I will say if c is greater than or equals to 48, since I'm targeting from 0 to 9, right? So, and also, right, it has to be what? Not greater than what? 9. And the ASCII code of 9 is 57. So, and also c less than or equals to 57. So this way I've targeted from 0 to 9, right? So if this condition is true, right, what shall happen? It says return 1 if c is a digit. So I'll just say return what? 1, right? So else what? Else it says we should return a 0. So I'll just say return 0 here. So here I need to document my Betty. So I'll just say is digit, right? Is digit. So function that checks, right, for 0 through 9. Okay, so it doesn't have to be long, just a brief explanation or description of your function. So and the parameter at c, right? So I just say function, or let me say parameter to be checked, parameter to be checked, right? And then what again? The return type, sorry, return 1 on success and 0 on failure, right? Failure. All right, so we've documented Betty. So let's run Betty first and see if Betty is happy with our code. Yes, Betty is fine. So we can move ahead and create our test file to see if our function is working the way it's supposed to work. So vi, this is one main.c. So paste here. So I need to make some correction here. All right, so the next thing for us is to compile our program and see. So copy the compilation command, paste. Yes, so it has been compiled without any error. So let's run the compiled file. Yeah, so as you can see here, we are getting the same answer. 0, we got what? We got 1. A, we got what? We got 0 here. right? So when you look at this, as you can see, this is 0, right? So 0 is passed to the function, is digit. So we said that if it is a digit, it should what? Return 1. That's why we are having 1 here. It will print 0 and then it will print the return value, right? And for this case here, a character is passed to the function. As you can see, it is A. So that's why we are having 0 here. We said if it is not a digit, it should return a 0, right? I believe this is clear. So don't forget to add, commit, and push your GitHub repository, and then you can run your checks. So let's move on to the next task. All right, so this task here says we should write a function that multiplies two integers. This is very easy. This is one of the simplest project, I think, on functions, or in fact on ALX project entirely. This is most simple, just like the addition, right? We just say A plus B, right? So that's what we are going to do here, or similar. So let's open the file vi. All right, so here I will need to include my main.h, right? So main.h. So let me just document my Betty here. So by looking at this, I know that my function name is what? Is mul. Just look at this. My function name is going to be mul. So I just say mul function that multiplies two integers, isn't it? And then the next one is what? After mul. So the function parameters we have at A, right? So I will just say parameter 1. We also have at B, right? So let me just call this parameter 2, right? So I think I misspelled this. Yeah, parameter 2. And then what again? The return value, right? Sorry, the return statement. So I just say return, sorry, in caps, return. Why am I missing the caps? Yeah, return. So what is the function going to return? A times B. Yeah, let me just put it something like this. Yeah. All right, so let's begin writing the code. So all what we're going to do inside this is simply just say return, then in bracket you say A times B. So that's just what you need to do about this function. So the function will return whatever the value of A is times whatever the value of B is. So this way you'll have a function that multiplies two integers. So let's exit. Let's run Betty on the file. 2mul. Yeah, so Betty is fine. So let's go ahead and create our test file, just to make sure that our file is working. Sorry, our function is working the way it's supposed to work. Main.c. So paste. So here I need to say hash include, right? All right, so let's compile and let's see if our function is working. So compile. Yes, so it has been compiled. So let's run the compiled file. Yeah, so as you can see, we got exact the same output. So when you multiply 98, just look at the first case here. It is 98 and 1024. So it is going to multiply 1024 98 times, right? Or 98 1024 times. So if you do the arithmetic, you're going to get exactly something like this. Same as this, if you multiply minus 402 with 4096, you are going to get a negative this number here. So it means that our function is working the way it's supposed to work. Okay, so I think we are going to stop this session here. In the next video, we are going to continue from task 3 of this project. So thank you very much. To meet in our next session.